I want to ask you, because I don't want to breeze over this, in the Alva years and everything, Thrashin came into the picture,
man.
and
Daggers.
like, the Daggers,
yeah.
you know, what was going on right there? How did you even get in? How did you get involved with that?
Before we go to that, I'm
ahead.
gonna just take you back to the 70s.
Yeah.
When Skateboarder magazine was going, and then it turned into Action Now, which was a weird deal because they had like horseback riding and surfing, weird shit.
A lot of action.
Yeah, because they thought it was almost like X Games. Let's get a bunch of shit together to survive. They're trying to get skateboarders to survive, but most of the people were sponsors, were skateboarders, so no skateboarders, so it didn't work. My point was that's when Thrasher came out, and that's why I'm going to mention Thrasher before Thrashin, because what a great name, Thrasher. You're going to get out there and throw as a punk rock. You're in the pit, you're thrashing, and you're skating. I guess Dwayne Peters told them to call it Thrasher, which is a great thing, the whole skate and destroy attitude. And I remember going to a skate park, San Diego, and seeing this Thrasher. Whoa, there's a magazine again. Skateboarder's gone, because I had a subscription to skateboard the whole time. My parents got it for me for Christmas, so I still have them all. But Thrasher really changed the game, man.
Yeah.
It was like you're reading about the Midwest and the East Coast and Texas, and then that's why I read about Texas for a few years and be able to go there and meet these guys and hang in. They would come to Del Mar and skate the park. Craig and John, I'd take them surfing, and we all became buddies, and it was really, really cool. So in that same time, 80s, Thrashin. So they came to Tony Alva. They were making a movie about skate. It was supposed to be like a West Side Story of like gangs, in New York. But it was supposed to be California, where you got the ramp locals, which is almost like the Powell guys, whatever. We're going to ride the ramp and win the contest. And the Daggers are like the guys in the little Venice punk house, all graffiti on the walls, and they didn't care. They're just thrashing around, like a lifestyle type thing more.
What year did you guys start shooting that?
85.
85?
85. So it came out in 86. And I remember shooting some of the scenes. I was in Venice scene. We did the Chili Peppers. They came to Del Mar. Skate park Del Mar was closed at the time. So for us to be able to skate the park every day was like, wow, with all these dudes. And we got paid $40 a day to be extras on the set. You know? And you see me in the back in a couple of these shots and stuff. It was fun. It was a really fun time. And they hired TA as a consultant.
Yep.
So they had that kind of Alva 80s look, with all the dreadlocks and the punk rock.
They wanted to recreate that.
Vest. Well, there's a team called the Jacks, which are out of Seattle and Canada, that have those denim vests like a biker gang.
Yeah.
And so it's called the Jacks, Jaks. And they were the guy who drew Munsky, who drew that dagger, because the gangs in New York was supposed to be like knives and chains, and that's why they did the dagger versus a gun, So that's why the dagger was the name of the Daggers, like, kind of street violence.
Yeah.
So he was an art guy for Alva at the time, doing art. They do graffiti stuff and whatever, and that. So he created it. So Alva was an influence on the movie. That's why he did a lot in Venice and that whole hardcore vibe. And I was running the Alva team at the time. Or no, I wasn't on the Alva team yet. No, I was on the team, but I wasn't team manager yet.
Okay.
That came a couple years later. But I remember going to Arkansas. We flew to Dallas, and we went to Arkansas for the first time. The East Coast meets West Coast, like Reese Simpson. I remember Al Midget.
Al Midget, yeah.
Yeah, and like Buck Smith from Florida, and the Texas guys. So it was really cool. Everybody just raging. And I remember the Texas guys, I already know Craig and Johnny from the Del Mar days. They had a Vega or something, and Craig had a Vega, and then the back thing popped on with a keg in the trunk. And everybody's like, we're part of the product, because the pros were Sunday, amateurs were Saturday.
Okay.
So we're skating Saturday, raging around, and all of a sudden they go, oh, it's going to rain tomorrow. Pros have to skate now. And these guys are wasted. So Craig Johnson gets on, and he makes the 8 cut. I don't know, which was a tough thing out of 40 dudes or something. Flies high, does like an 8-foot in here, flies off the ramp, comes back in, and you could not fall on your run and make the cut. But his skating was so wild, and I don't know how he stayed on, being drunk at the time, whatever. And they had videos of those guys the day before. They went to these rock quarries, and there's like a rock face where they did a rock. They start off in a rock and roll, and you ride your board down this rock face into the 20 foot into the water, and they're just showing me this wild, just having a wild time out there. So on the way home, I'd heard about this Kahuna vert ramp, which Neil Blender and John Lucero had been going there, saying, you got to go to Houston. They have the best ramp in the world right now. It's a metal ramp, 10-foot trannies, 2 feet of vert.
Wow. All
of our NSA ramps are 9.5 foot and a half, because Frank Hawk wanted to make them all the same for competition-wise. Yeah. So I was doing airs maybe a foot or two high at Del Mar at the time. I go to Texas. My airs are now like chest high.
Oh, wow.
It was so smooth and perfect. Del Mar was kinky. Every wall was different, and it was smaller 8-foot, 9-foot trains. This is 10-foot trains. So it just showed you the future of skating. So I remember taking acid with those guys, mushrooms, like just having a wild, wild Texas time. I stayed at Craig's house in Dallas. He goes, yeah, stay in my house. We rode down with Jeff Phillips. And this is when I first met Todd Prince and Troy Chasen and Ken Fillion and all these guys, which ended up being Texas legends, the whole don't mess with Texas helmet thing and all that, So I don't know where I'm going. Oh, so I missed some Thrashin when they were doing the downhill scene. They were filming all that. I'm like, I don't even care about that, dude. I'm out here because this is a chance. I was a traveler. Anytime I get a free trip somewhere, like
you want to go explore.
The bonus. I always do the bonus. Oh, stay a couple extra days or whatever. You know, my snowboard trips. Like, oh, you're gonna do a snowboard camp. I'm putting my ticket for 2 days after, so I can ride some powder or ride this resort for free. Because I know the marketing dude. You know, that's why I've always lived my life. Like, just get there early to build the ramps and stay late. You know, either tear the ramp down or just experience all. So I've always made the most of all my trips, like the Brazil ones.
Yeah.
You know, 2 weeks, stay 2 months.
Yeah, 2 months.
So the Thrashin thing, that's what I did. But I remember when the movie came out, man, it was crazy to go to the premiere in LA with everyone. And that's right, the Sunset Car Wash thing.
Yeah.
I think it was right across the street from the theater or some bank was there, but that's crazy. Was it Milton Martinez just got skater of the year for all that? Gee, that's a big part of skate history in LA. I think about downtown LA stuff. I like that kid, Milton. We saw him one time in it was a Latin X Games. I think Lutzka won the whole thing, but it was first time I seen Milton Martinez. He was doing these nollie big spins and courageous flow and stuff. And I've had my eye on him. That's probably over 10 years.
Wow.
Now, we did a San Francisco Dude Tour thing where I remember he ollied in off this streetcar, like whatever they did to start off. And it was the downhill thing where you go over a car and all the gnarly
truck, whatever.
Gnarly downhill San Francisco. And Milton, I think, was on top 3 in that shot.
Crazy.
Him, I think, So big ups to Milton. I've always loved his style and his stuff.
Oh, he's the best.
To keep going year after year at that level, and not just be just a handrail guy, to be able to kind of do a little of everything. I mean, anyways, I'm just amazed at what the new kids are doing, and
it's incredible.
It is incredible.
It's mind blowing.
I love watching all that stuff. I don't know where we're going. It's just
but when the movie came out, did you even realize when you were doing the movie and before it came out, did you even realize how? You just were like, oh, we're doing this some bullshit movie.
Cool. It was a movie. I mean, it was like, dude, we go to Hollywood. At the time, Asoy, that's when I was friends with Asoy. We would go to Hollywood. We weren't even 21 yet. And he would get into nightclubs and be like,
oh, he's a rock star.
Big old line. And we walked to the front of the club. The door guy, how many with you? 10, 15? Come on in. You guys are up in your own little zone. Like, dude, we were living like
rock stars. Yeah.
Asoy, just being him, he was a Hollywood dude. So to be in a movie with this, like, kind of like, okay, we're getting a little taste of that, and it was about skating. But we didn't know until it actually came out how cool it was going to be or whatever. And at the time, it kind of came and went because we were living so fast doing the regular life. Yeah, Thrashin, whatever, was kind of corny, but, whatever. Gleam of the Cube came out, new videos are coming out. But I remember about 10 years later, we went to Brazil, and we had this Alva dude was like, he wanted us to sign his Alva poster, me and Eddie. And he goes, you guys are Daggers. You're Daggers. And I looked at Eddie, what? We hadn't heard that word in like 10 years. This was like 99, I think, early, late 90s. So we're Daggers. So Eddie went home and got his Dagger board out of his mom's garage and him and his Long Beach dude started doing this Dagger thing. That's how it kind of brought back. So this is all through the 2000 last 20 years. We've kind of, just for fun, brought back the little Dagger thing.
Yeah, you had a company that you were doing.
I still get people, they call me Dagger Dave. Or just for a while, we put Dagger on boards and Dagger stickers on Dagger shirts.
Right. That's funny. You didn't even realize it till 10 years after.
Yeah. Well, because you don't want to claim that or be part, it's just, actually the whole old school thing was gone. In the early 90s, nobody cared about Tony Hawk. He didn't have a pro model until X Games in 95.
Right.
Nobody gave it was
pretty much retired at one point.
Yeah. So old school was nothing. And then we were doing these things called the Soul Bowl in Huntington, which I designed this vert bowl. I used to work with these guys doing the snowboard events, and they said, we want to do this event, which is now the U.S. Open with the Vans Parking Lot. They go, we want to do something at the beach for skateboarding. And to me, we had too many street events and too many vert events. This is in the middle of the heyday when it was all, I'm like, you should bring back a bowl. Let's do. So we designed this vert bowl thing. And we're like, let's bring back some legends like Steve Alba and Dwayne Peters and Lance. And they all came out. This was the first time that we started what is now the Masters Division or Legend. That they do the Combis. It was probably 5 years before we did Combi, the Combi events or whatever. So in the mid 90s, late 90s, early 2000s. So it's kind of cool how, I mean, those guys, they weren't making any money. Nobody cared about old school stuff. Like even the street guys like Markovich, Sheffy, kind of were like, skateboarding moved on. I don't know how, if it slowed down and as it comes back, they kind of reach back on that. But I'm just so stoked now, I guess with all the internet and that stuff, that there is a little nod to, to some of the old school stuff, like guys that can bridge the gap. A lot of fathers are out there teaching their kids or the skateboard going, I used to love Dwayne Peters and he'd do a layback like this and cool. And kids are doing Burts and people are doing boneless ones now. And, for a while that was not cool, So it's just crazy how it evolves.
No, it's amazing. I mean, you have to give a nod,
Yeah, hand plants. Nobody for a long time did inverts. In the X game, nobody did an invert. Now people are starting to do little tuck me inverts and Andrex and different thing, whatever. There's that kid Colin Graham. He does a thing called a colonoscopy. I don't know if you know about it. It's an algarial eggplant.
Okay.
His name's Colin Graham. So Colin, he calls it a colonoscopy. and it's an eggplant algarial, which who would think to do? God, who grabs like that and does like, but he just, so the kids are somehow making up their new tricks, just like on the street, all these crazy combinations of laser flips and dolls and flips.
Right.
They're like, what the fuck? Really.
Dolphin flips.
Yeah.
But even back then,
just the creativity keeps going.
Right. But even back then, they were making up the tricks.
Yeah. I saw the evolution of all that.
Yeah. Right.
Really crazy. But the stylish tricks, I remember backside tail sliders. I always played out, but nothing like a better back tail or a Smith grind or
timeless
the legend tricks. It just looks good. What's that?
It's a timeless tricks, man.
Yeah. The style.
Yeah.
It's always good to throw the style things in there. So
yeah.